Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Conversations from the Bench. As always, I'm Talad. It has been an eventful week. We have a NBA Finals matchup set. We have OTAs continuing in the NFL, and of course, the WNBA season is continuing. So we are going to jump right into it. Thank you so much for coming back and listening. It's a pleasure to do this. Let's jump right into the WNBA. You know kind of our format, WNBA, NBA, and then NFL. Paige Beckers has been out with a concussion, and for a Dallas team that is already struggling, this is a huge blow. Again, no one expected Dallas to really do anything this season, but that it just stinks that an already short season, because the WNBA just plays like half the amount of games the NBA does, gets even shorter for the number one overall pick, who everyone wants to watch play, right? So hopefully Paige gets better soon. Concussions are no joke. If, you get hit in the head, something happens, you need to get checked out, and you need to make sure you take care of it accordingly, because that stuff is scary. Concussions are very scary. So big shout out to Paige Beckers. Hopefully she is back healthy and running that offense again soon. It'd be super fun to watch her development as the rest of the year goes on, and then in the offseason into next year. With that being said, there are some teams that are absolutely rolling. The New York Liberty are 7-0 as I make this podcast. The Minnesota Lynx are 8-0. Are these two on another trajectory to meet in the WNBA Finals? Are the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty going to get a rematch in the WNBA Finals? One, I think that would be super fun. I think the league this year has changed to a 7-game format for the finals. So we'll get more basketball, and that will be super fun to watch. These two teams just went head to head last year. It went down to like the final seconds, Who wouldn't want that again? Has the WNBA found their kind of Cleveland Golden State, matchup where these are clearly teams that are top of their games. They are head and shoulders above other people. Are we going to get kind of rematches of the championship series as we move forward? Remember that the WNBA does not work with conference seeding. There is no Eastern Conference playoffs, Western Conference playoffs, and then East versus West for the title. It is just basically by record. Like, it's not like the Aces can play the Liberty in the playoffs, and not in the finals in the prior round. So the WNBA operates differently. So something to keep in mind also as we move forward is that matchups will be more important, because every playoff, it's important. In any sport, matchups, you don't match up well with a team. You see them in the regular season, you lose. You see them in the playoffs, now it's a lot harder. But in WNBA, it's very interesting because now you're doing cross country. There's more travel involved, things like that. So really an interesting element there. Where are we here? The Atlanta Dream. This is fun. The Atlanta Dream are 5-2. Which last year they did not have a good season. I think they won like 15 games last season. Losing record. So very fun that they've kind of come out of the gates. I believe Brittany Griner is on that team this year, and I'm sure her veteran presence has helped. Very fun that they have come out of the gate this year with a 5-2 record. Again, shorter season. Every game means a little more. So that is really cool. And the Las Vegas Aces, who we always talk about, those Aces that were on top of the league there for like a few years with Asia Wilson. They're 4-2. So comparable record to Atlanta. They just played one less game. Those are kind of your top seeds right now. Those are your top four. And then everyone else, falls back in line. And then Dallas, I believe, is all the way at the bottom. So very, very interesting how the rest of this is going to shake out. It's only June. The WNBA finals are usually played in like October. So we still have a few months to really see what is going to happen. What are we in for with the rest of these teams? Because just because you start the season one way does not necessarily mean you're going to finish it that way. It's a long season. in terms of just like how teams change. Injuries happen, players take leaps, things of that nature. So really, we're in for a really interesting ride to see how this is gonna shake out with these teams. One team I do want to talk about is the Connecticut Sun. So obviously the Connecticut Sun, Alyssa Thomas left. They kind of like blew it up a bit. They just couldn't. They were really good, and they've consistently been really good. They just could never get kind of to that last step. And so they kind of tore it down, and now they, losing record. No one's expecting anything from them, but they're up for sale. The Connecticut Sun are up for sale, and what is interesting is that they have just partnered with TD Bank as like their official bank. And there have been, the Celtics have new ownership. There have been rumors of is the WNBA ever going to come to Boston, because it's such a big sports city. It's such a big sports city, and it is so crazy that there is no WNBA team here, and it's because the Sun were in Connecticut. They have like a following in New England. I don't really, they're in Connecticut. I'm not in Connecticut. I'm not going to really pay that much attention. But I think it's interesting that the last 2 years, this now be year number 2, they will play at TD Garden. And it's good in a sense of like New England has a few states, obviously. And here is your more central location to get people more, that people can access it maybe a little easier to come and watch a game. And for the league, that's really huge. But are the Connecticut Sun going to move to Boston? I know that people are like, oh, they should move to Philly, they should move to Miami, they should, here and there and everywhere. Back to Charlotte, the Charlotte Sting that Dawn Staley was a part of back in the day. I am hopeful that the Connecticut Sun are going to be brought to Boston. I have always wanted a team in Boston ever since I found out the WNBA existed. It just makes too much sense, and to have a team here would be amazing. I would do everything to try to get, credentials to that, just to even go watch a game in general, just as a fan. It would be so awesome to have a team in Boston. So WNBA, get a team in Boston. It would be very cool if the Sun moved to Boston and were able to kind of establish themselves more in that, and it would give New England more of like a central team to root for. Connecticut's a little harder, but it's also the New York Liberty are like right there, but you have a team now in like Boston, and it's like, okay, like this is now like firmly a New England sports team. And it's not in a casino. It would be like in its own, it would be probably at TD Garden, where the Celtics play, where the Bruins play. And it would be much more like, okay, this is our basketball team. So who knows? Connecticut Sun are up for sale. Are they coming to Boston? We will find out in whenever it gets sold. I have a sneaky suspicion it is coming to Boston, but these things have funny ways of going in directions that you never knew. So, WNBA, keep rolling. We're going to bounce now to the men's league. The NBA, there's a lot going on there, right? So we have a finals matchup coming up. We will touch on that. I want to talk about Tom Thibodeau, and his firing. There are a lot of Knicks fans that I think are they were annoyed with Thibodeau. They're annoyed with Cat, right? Here's the thing with Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns is not made to be a second option on a team. He had his moments. He won you guys game 3, and he showed why he's an all-star. But Karl Anthony Towns should not be depended on as the second guy. Cat can be a third. He can be a third option on a team, and I think he would do really well with that. But I think expecting him to be a consistent number 2 is asking too much. And we've seen that throughout his career. He's just inconsistent. He fouls a lot. which is also really upsetting because you don't want your talented player to foul out. But we saw him foul out in the playoffs, and it's frustrating, as a fan to watch. I'm sure as a Knicks fan or a Wolves fan when he was there, it was just really frustrating because it's like, dude, you've been in the league like 9 years now. Don't stop fouling. It can't be that hard, but his inconsistency is something that I don't think the Knicks can move forward with in terms of keeping him as a second option. Now, should he get traded? That's a different story. I believe he is owed, he's owed $60 million next season? Something. He is owed something next season. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but he's owed a lot of money, and he's eating about 34% of their cap next year. So the thing is, even though Brunson took, I believe, it was a $100 million contract last year, the Knicks are over the cap. They're under the second apron. Important note, because the second apron restricts you from a lot. Just like a lot of different things, makes it very hard. But they are over the cap. So it's still harder now with this new CBA to do some stuff. If you trade Karl Anthony Towns, what are you trading him for? Are you trading him for like Kevin Durant? How does Kevin Durant can help you? Because now you have what I believe the Knicks need a scoring guard or wing to help out Brunson. A guy who can consistently get you buckets. If you have Jalen Brunson on the same team as Kevin Durant, and then you have like a Mitchell Robinson in the center and Josh Hart and Michael Bridges, maybe do you trade Michael Bridges? It seemed like a little awkward fit, but see how it happens with the new coach. The new coach will come in and, his vision for a team would look a certain way. You trade those players and you bring in players based on his vision, the scheme he wants to run, things like that. So now players have to adjust to a new system as well. They need a consistent scorer. The Knicks need a consistent scorer. I have not looked at Kevin Durant's contract. Is it possible he can go to the Knicks? I don't know, because they're over the cap. Maybe. I have to look at it. I haven't looked at the CBA. It's a new CBA like this. I just haven't paid that much attention to a certain, I haven't put this scenario through yet, but they still need something. They went big with Cat, so they need to try to do something else, but it's gonna get tighter, as the contracts come up. OG Anunoby's like $39 million next year. I mean, you've got guys making a good amount of money, but they do need a new coach. Is Michael Malone the new coach? Should Michael Malone be the new coach of the New York Knicks? I mean, we know he won his title in Denver. He did well in Denver. It didn't work. I mean, I think Denver's general manager was terrible. Calvin Booth was not good, in my opinion. I just think he said dumb things. I think he should have tried to keep the team together or try to figure something out. Then this was under the old CBA where it was a little easier. I just think he let the roster kind of dissolve a bit, and that's disappointing. And I think that's probably also why Michael Malone had issues with him is he's looking around and be like, you're not giving me guys that I can work with. You need to help me out here. So Michael Malone's probably on that list. There are a lot of other guys on that list. It should be an extensive process for Leon Rose and the Knicks, but it's the Knicks. So, I mean, who knows? Dolan is there. They've had like a smidge of success for the first time in like 25 years, which is great. And I'm happy for them because I think, competitive New York, Boston is super fun, and a competitive New York is fun. I mean, I Madison Square Garden, I've never been in there. I want to, but it looks like such a fun venue, and to have that place like excited, I mean, that's really cool. So I don't know. They're gonna have a new coach, and it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna take some time for players to adjust to a new scheme. Just like a heads up to Knicks fans, don't be quick to dismiss the new guy when he comes in and puts in his offense, because it's going to take a little time for players to acclimate to it. And we'll see who's on the roster when the year starts, when next season starts. Who do we have here? It's also not, before I forget, I had seen some comments online that's like, they'll get back to the ECF, it's fine. Or it was their first year, they'll get back, it's not, whatever. It's not a guarantee you're going to get there. It is not a guarantee. There have been plenty of teams that have made the conference finals and have just not gone back. The Celtics, we all thought they were going back, and then now everything is up in the air there. I mean, it's just never, ever guaranteed in sports that you are going to get back to that place. So they need to continue to work toward taking the steps to get better. They can't just be content. I think the roster needs an upgrade. There are holes. I mean, Cameron Payne, dude, you need more. You need better backup guard play for Brunson. You need more. And also Mitchell Robinson is really good, but Mitchell Robinson is injury prone. So just kind of, roll with that too. They're probably going to be looking for, if they're looking for another big or whatever, just good to keep that in mind. All right, Thunder Pacers, we're going to touch on this. Two small market teams competing for their first title. OKC obviously has the advantage, right? Like, they're deep, they have talent all the way around, they can defend, number one defense in the NBA, they can make buckets, whatever it is. The Pacers have been counted out all season. And guess what? All they do is go and get buckets. You cannot be safe around them. They'll turn around and be like, oh, I just scored 10 points in 1 minute. So I know that people are counting Oklahoma City to win. They're counting on them to win. They're counting out Indiana. But I don't know. I think Indiana's going to take at least one game from this. I think Oklahoma City's going to win. But I think Indiana has the tools to make it interesting. I'm really curious what Halliburton we get. If he's confident and being this assist guy and really, dishing it out and guys are knocking down shots, it becomes a harder team to stop. If he is a guy who's not as confident, he's a little shaky, Oklahoma City has the guys to lock him down. If they turn him into a shooter rather than a passer, then I think that's a recipe for Indiana to lose. So, interesting series. I know it's small market, but it's parity. And you don't need big markets every year. But it's going to be really, really cool to see. This is basketball, right? This is just two small market teams trying to... Those fan bases are really they really want that first title. And yeah, it feels great when your team wins a title. So it's going to be a really interesting NBA Finals, but I think Oklahoma City could probably wrap it up kind of quickly. But I will give the Pacers at least a game here. It might come back to bite me, to be quite honest with you. But the second apron, I had talked about it with the Knicks, how they're under it. But the second apron, and Oklahoma City is not near the second apron. Everyone is on their rookie deals. That it's coming. That second apron is coming for Oklahoma City. I understand that they have draft picks. I get it. But one, I don't think all their draft picks are necessarily like top 5, top 10. I think they're later, even though they're first rounders. Second of all, I don't think you can count on hitting on every single one. Are you going to hit on every single draft pick? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. They've done a good job. But I think we're going to see now what the next step with Presti is and that front office, because now you have these guys, they're going to have big extensions, right? Williams, Gilgeous-Alexander, Holmgren is going to want an extension at some point. These are expensive dudes, and this is your core three. Remember, they had a core three of Westbrook, Harden, and Durant. They traded Harden. Westbrook and Durant, it didn't work. They got close. It did not work. And I think Presti has learned from that, and that's why they have accumulated all these picks, and they've taken like the slow ride up to position themselves the way they have. But it's gonna be there. That second apron is going to be there, and it's looming. So give him another year, I think, and then that's when I believe extensions will start to play a part. And then we're gonna see if they're gonna make some tough decisions, trade some guys, whatever that might look like. Even if the guys take less money, that's still gonna be a lot eventually for them to eat. I mean, how much less money are you all gonna take? Maybe they do. Maybe they all take a significant amount less, and they continue to win titles. Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be up for, I believe, not a supermax. A supermax? I don't know. He's going to be up for an extension that will put him, I believe, near $400 million, which is insane. But that's, if he signs that, that's going to eat a lot of cap. And the salary cap will go up, but now you're talking more, restrictions on second apron, things of that nature. So we're going to see. Well, the next few years, Oklahoma City's going to have to make some interesting salary cap decisions. We're going to bounce to the NFL. CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. I have heard that CJ Stroud still has some shoulder soreness. D'Amico Ryan said he is not concerned. But shoulder soreness from a guy who got sacked the league high 52 times last year, which was a lot. I mean, I'm not surprised he has shoulder soreness, but the season ended in January for Houston. You still have a sore shoulder? It's June. What's going on there? Is he actually going to be okay? Is something else happening? Is CJ Stroud's shoulder okay? Why is it still sore? They revamped the line. Are they going to be able to protect him the way they need to? A lot of questions this year for Houston. They had a great first rookie year for CJ, disappointing last year, and now is a really big year, I think, for them. And unfortunately, Tank Dell's injury is going to make it a little harder. But, they have Charlie Kirk in there now, and hopefully revamped a little bit of those receiving core that could help him out a bit. But did they do enough? Did they do enough? They revamped their receiving core, they revamped their offensive line. Did the Houston Texans do enough to protect CJ Stroud and give him time to throw the ball down the field and make plays? I don't know. We'll see. New offensive coordinator in Nick Caley, who comes from the McVay system. Again, you're introducing a new offense and your quarterback has a sore shoulder. It's gonna take time. I said patience with Knicks fans, also patience with Houston Texans fans, because that is going to take time for them to work through. First month of the season, don't even stress too much about it, because everyone's implementing new things, really. Unless you have continuity like the Eagles or the Chiefs or the Bills or whomever. A lot of teams are working in new coordinators, new systems, things like that. So just be patient with your team. So Stephon Diggs was at OTAs for the Patriots. He looks good. Obviously, doesn't have the explosiveness. He's 7 months post ACL. He looks good for someone who's still recovering from an ACL injury. The explosiveness will come. Usually, explosiveness doesn't come till the second year after an ACL tear. So we'll see kind of where he's at in preseason in August and then regular season in September. But he is going to be great to have on the team. I know he had all that off-field stuff. I think they've addressed it. I think him going to OTAs was probably Vrabel saying you need to show up for these guys and stop fooling around, and this is a way of him also taking back his power and establishing that culture that he wants to in New England. So great to see Diggs working out. He has a ways to go, but it's nice to give Drake May him as an option at receiver. And hopefully he can teach the other receivers some stuff. It'll be important that they learn, because they struggled last year, and having some veterans and Matt Collins also acting as another coach on that team really helps these young guys. Polk struggled. Baker struggled last year. They need... And Demario Douglas struggled. They need guys to help them out, and I think Douglas struggled primarily because of the OC that was there. But I think that having these veterans around is going to be very helpful for them. Will Campbell signed his rookie deal. Congratulations, Will. It's like 40 something million guaranteed, 46.55 or something. 47. Huge. I hope he can play left tackle really well. If they get consistent line play or semi-consistent line play, already better than last year. That's awesome. It's going to give Drake May so much time. We talked about, did the Texans do enough to address the offensive line for CJ Stroud? Did the Patriots do enough to address the offensive line for Drake May? I think they did the best they could. There weren't really any offensive linemen that hit free agency. They usually don't. You have to draft a guy or find them as an unrestricted free agent, an undrafted free agent. I keep saying unrestricted. Undrafted free agent, a UDFA. We'll see. I really hope it works out. The kid, I heard, is just a hard worker. He stays after practice with Morgan Moses. He gets tips, and hopefully he is able to make that stride and really protect Drake May's blind side and give him time to work through. It's a new offensive system, so having support from his offensive line is going to be huge, and it's going to give him some peace of mind. You don't want him to turn into Mac Jones where he's panicking behind his line. So it's going to be really, really important that Will Campbell develops into like an all-pro, Pro Bowl left tackle. Saquon Barkley, congratulations on the Madden 26 cover. That's great. It was a really cool backwards, jump. That's awesome to see. I have a question here. We're going to stay in the AFC East real quick, actually. I want to talk about the Dolphins here for a second. Did the Miami Dolphins, did they do enough this offseason? I'm going to say no. I think the Dolphins are going to be largely kind of irrelevant next year. 2, what do the Dolphins do about Tua Tagovailoa? He's good. He's not great. He's got a big contract. It's like $212 million or something. What do you do? You drafted Quinn Ewers from Texas, who's like fine. He was a later round pick. See what he can do for you. But what do the Dolphins do with Tua? I think we all know that he's kind of hit a ceiling. I think he's good. He's not great. I don't think Tua can get you to the Super Bowl. I don't think he's that type of guy. I don't think he's that type of quarterback. I don't think he has enough around him defensively, actually, to kind of elevate. I don't think that team has enough to kind of get there. I have never thought too highly of Tua in terms of like talent. I think he's really good. I don't think he's a star. I don't think he has the ability to kind of get you where you need to go. You saw the team really struggle without him. So he's very, very good. I just don't think he's like quite the guy. I don't think he's the guy. It's kind of like a Trevor Lawrence thing. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the guy either, to be honest with you. I know he's had injury issues, and Tua has also had the concussion issues and stuff. I don't think he should be playing anymore, but that's up to him. But what do the Dolphins do about Tua? You play him, and you hope that he's only 27. You hope that he lives up to his $200 million contract. Maybe he elevates you this year. If he stays healthy, maybe he does. Maybe he really opens people's eyes and gets you where you want to go, gets you where you need to go as a team. But I don't know. Miami had a good year like 2 years ago, like a really good year. They went to Kansas City when it was freezing. I don't think they should have played that game. It was way too cold. And they just couldn't do anything with it. So we'll see kind of how that shakes out. I think if Drake May has a really good year, and you're gonna have Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and then Justin Fields and Tua. Tua's better than Justin Fields. But I think Drake May might establish himself if he has a good year. I mean, there's so many unknowns, but thank you for spending time with me today. I appreciate it. I will see you next week, and have a good one.